Shamaka. How are you doing?
Yo, diggity. I'm awesome. How are you doing tonight?
I'm just pissed off at the world tonight. I came out of one of those bureaucratic meetings today, and I always get called to the floor, because I'm so in your face, and I'm also so much a voice for the voiceless, and they don't like that. They just don't like that. The bureaucrats don't like the truth to come, or whatever I consider the truth. They don't like it.
Well, they don't like it, but we like it, and we need it. So, yay. Congratulations, and keep that shit up. Who did you get the tussle with today?
Yeah.
Who did you get the tussle with today?
I'm going to definitely keep it up. It was the treasurer, actually.
Oh, that sounds fun. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
He's a little touchy. He's a little touchy anyway.
Just give him some money, be a good slave, and everything. All your problems will go away.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, of course. Of course, yeah. So tell me a little bit about yourself, Aphrodite, Christie.
Okay, well, first off, you are talking my language, and it's really nice. I feel right at home, and I just have to say I appreciate what you're doing in your community and, outreach and, actually doing it, because everybody talks about it, especially on Facebook, right? They want you to think that there's some great person and, oh, feel sorry for this person or that, but really, you nailed it. We have the power to change everything by being that example, by going out there like yourself. And, when they'll say, Christy, how can I help homeless people? And it's like, well, they'll say that I don't have the money, or I don't, all of these objections. And it's like, well, when is the last time that you actually looked at a homeless person like a person and actually talked to them, smiled at them, or asked them how they were? So I'll tell you what, when I was homeless, that's what saved me, is people acknowledging that I was actually still human. And I have many stories of angels, humans, that I was literally, okay, I got to end it all. This is just crazy. I'll never make it. I don't even want to make it. Screw this world, blah, blah, blah. And then just some stranger would come out of the blue. One night, there were like 7 of them out of the blue just to acknowledge me, tell me how beautiful I am, just, give me hope. One of them even ended up offering me a job. And it was like, wow. So it's people out there, you think you can't help because you don't have an abundance of money. I guarantee you have some leftover food, number one. I guarantee you have a smile. I guarantee, especially if you're listening to this show, you have 2 ears, or at least one, and you have a couple shoulders. And, homeless people are people too. We have all the exact same needs as people who have homes. And for me, that gave me the greatest hope to keep on. So, yeah, with that being said, I'm sorry to get off on a tangent. You asked me a little bit about me. So I became homeless after a brain infection. And there were other factors involved, like malicious slander, gang stalking, people purposefully going out of their way to have me chased out or kicked out of multiple cities because I, according to them, child abusing, racist, adult abusing, animal abusing, drug addicted, dealing, prostitute, scam artists out to get you. So the funny thing about that is strangers will always believe the words of other strangers before they go to the source. And so clearly I had a hard time getting settled. Like when I would get a job, then they'd come across the slander, and then all of a sudden they didn't have a job anymore, or things like that. Or I didn't have a home anymore, even though my rent was paid, or things like that. So thankfully, I finally overcame that. I was able to overcome my disabilities, but I'd like to talk more about that. Disabilities versus DIF abilities later, but just to kind of sum it up in a nutshell, my brain blew up. Some of the diagnoses is, neuroinvasive West Nile viral encephalitis. I had a bunch of strokes. I couldn't talk or walk. And then there's other diagnoses I have that obviously that compounded. And I'm not a person for diagnoses, but just for the purpose of conversation. So autoimmune diseases. The first one was fibro, then they diagnosed me with MS, then they diagnosed me with lupus, then they diagnosed me with rheumatoid arthritis.
Yeah.
So it's been fun. I've had like 15 different surgeries, all over my body, knees, inside, blah, blah, blah. And to sum it up, I had no help, and especially after going homeless, and you have no address, and you're basically not a human anymore. In fact, you can't even get food stamps without an address, let alone medical care and things like that. So I got tired of, I didn't have any faith in the system to begin with, but at the encouragement of other people, oh, Christie, just go apply for this, that, blah, blah, blah. And I ended up realizing that I was wasting more time chasing these rabbit holes, getting absolutely nowhere, and I could have been using that time working on myself, which I did. So doctors had no cure for me, but nature did. So I found it. And so now I'm back I've been in a home since December. And I did that by working a minimum wage job, living in a tent and living in my car. And now, I'm still working that same job, and I'm back in, I guess, society and healthy, walking, working, talking, obviously, most often, way too much.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I have a lot of, things that I would like to share about any of those topics, or especially in encouraging and inspiring others that think they have no way out. Because I'll tell you what, I literally was left for dead, completely abandoned, zero family, not one single person that cared if I lived or died. So I had no choice but to do it myself. And just the fact that I don't even know how I did it, really. It's a miracle. I mean, I have some ideas, but I'm just saying the fact that I was able to do that with zero income, being slandered and stalked that way with zero support, no one to go, no services either, like none of that. And I was able to make it and build a business in the meantime and get that, secure the job, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm living proof that anyone can overcome anything, So I that's really my message, in a nutshell.
I sympathize with you. I can sympathize with you because we've gone through the same thing that you went through and had to start from zero again. And we had $250,000 in the bank and went to zero with all the medical costs and other things that we incurred. We were down to zero, and we were homeless in this town that we had never heard of, 3,500 miles away from where we come from. And so I can understand exactly what you're saying, and we had like, yeah.
Wow.
We had no money. No gas. We did have a vehicle, thank goodness.
Yep, me too.
We had a vehicle with no gas in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so we had to just go from place to place until we found a job, and slowly living in the park, worked our way up, smelling and stinky and using baby wipes to clean up with. Slowly worked our way up to an RV. And we bought an old RV and lived in it. And that was like a kingdom to us, you know, to have an RV. Wow, oh my God, that was unbelievable. Yeah. So we lived in that for 6 years off the grid, and we've enjoyed it really, really a lot. And since then, we've come a little further and gotten an apartment since then, and we've stepped up a notch. So I don't take any of that for granted.
No.
But I wanted to mention something real quick about what you said a while ago about homeless people. You know, people will kick you down. The further down you go, the further down people it will kick you.
They love it.
And
I did not know. I'm sorry to just like butt in here, but see, I've always advocated for homeless people. So before I was homeless, I had no clue how horrible people were. And these are like the same people that, again, are posting on Facebook telling you how nice they are and, you know, at church and this and that. And, I mean, I have never, ever, ever in my life experienced as much predatory behavior as while I was homeless. And you know what? It was not by the homeless people. I know there's this myth that they're, you know, we're junkies and we're out, you know, that, no, dude, I didn't even know any homeless persons that did drugs. I was the worst because I used cannabis paste and smoked the pot, you know? Like, that's not how it was. The rich people, the trust fund people, the people hiring me, having me build their homes and build their gardens and do their labor, then stealing that from me, then stealing whatever possessions I had. You know, that, it was the violence and the dangers were not by the people without homes. And it was just really, really shocking because you really get to see who people are, and which is a blessing. And I am super grateful for all of my experiences. I am not complaining at all in the least, but I really, you know, you really get to see who's who. So yeah, it's amazing how many people do to pick someone while they're down.
To keep the show fair and balanced, I want to let everyone know that there are those crackheads out there, and there are those meth freaks out there, and there are those folks that do the hard drugs and are very dangerous and very violent and very mentally ill that you need to stay away from. But we need to balance it. I mean, it's a balance.
But
you have to be,
you know what I mean? And you can choose that. Like, you don't have to choose to hang out with a meth head, right? Like, you can go like what you did off grid, like what I did off grid. I went up in the mountains 5 miles and then in the forest, and you know what I mean? Like, we don't, we can choose, you know, where we're at. And so I knew that nature would help me heal, and I wasn't getting anywhere in the cities begging in the same lines and the same systems. So, yeah, I went off grid and said, all right, I'll do it myself. Thanks. This was fun.
John, I think John is on with us right now. John, are you on?
I am here. Good evening, Tyler. Good evening, Steve.
Nice.
It's so pleasant to be with you two tonight. Yeah, you know, I've had quite a few experiences that, shall we say, are kind of interesting, too. In my, when I had my antique mall, I was living in an area that wasn't what you would call the greatest neighborhood in the place. And over that time, I met a couple individuals that were homeless and desperate over the years. And then, of course, you know, I was in Nashville a few days ago, and I met a homeless lady there while we were there in Nashville doing what we were doing. So it's everywhere. And you never even know, in most cases, unless you actually get in a conversation. And the problem is we spend all of our time just walking down and just really kind of ignoring each other. Nobody will generally walk along and just say hi to somebody as they're passing them on the, walkway. We have become so infatuated with our cell phones or with ourselves, or we're in fear of meeting and interacting with people we don't know because who are they or what do they want from me? And I saw that when I was in New York back in the mid-'80s. I was a country boy, so walking down the street, it was very normal for me to walk by and say, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And, these people from New York, they just give me a really strange look like, who are you, what do you want, and why are you talking to me? And unfortunately, this is a norm, and it gets only progressively worse when you're actually interacting, or not interacting would be the more appropriate statement, with somebody who's homeless. And we have lost our humanity. We've got a gentleman that's in his 70s, a World War II vet, they keep arresting him. What is his crime? Feeding the homeless.
Yeah.
Please, people, what is going on here? Where are we at? We've become so crazy. I know out west where you guys at, you've had these homeless people that literally freezing out there, and all they had to their name was a blanket or two, and the police came by and stole their blankets. And that's a YouTube video that you can watch. Unbelievable. That, from my perspective, is an attempted murder. That's an attempted murder by costumed goons.
Wow.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we do need to be paying attention to the people that are out there. We do need to have some care and concern. We need to stop with this biases and stuff like that. Until we get our humanity back, until we start to love one another for who we are and who they are. Bank of America.
Well said. Yeah. And you know what people don't think about? I'll say, I never ever thought that I could be homeless. We kind of grow up believing the American dream. You work hard, you pay your bills, you pay your rent, whatever, you buy a home, blah, 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 and everything's going to be perfect the rest of your life. But, are people forgetting there's things like, volcanoes and lava flow, tornadoes, hurricanes, fires, floods. People are literally going homeless all the time. And again, there's a whole class of homeless people that nobody even knows about, because we're not on the streets in the cities begging per se. And you know what I mean? So there's one, he's a medical anthropologist, written a whole bunch of books, pretty affluent guy, Harvard, he's homeless now. How does that happen? I have a PhD, and people would be like, how are you homeless and have a PhD? How did you it just happens. And I really would like to see a place where people are more, have more compassion for the human instead of join in this, oh, hey, look, there's somebody down, so let's kick him again because it'll lift us up higher. But, yeah, that's not what happens. But I'm grateful. And what about you, Kiler? Are you grateful for your experiences and being able to see things for how they really are?
Yeah. Homeless have changed a lot over the years, They've gone from orphans. We've gone from orphans to another category of children now, to juvenile delinquents. We've gone from real true hobos to crackheads and meth heads and folks that are doing DMT and psilocybin, which I'd love to have a little DMT right now myself. But
running away from abusive relationships. That's who I saw a lot of that, which I respect that.
The culture.
Yeah, people would. That's
the culture
exactly.
has changed drastically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we have a different level of homeless people. We have a different kind of homeless people. And we have to learn to interact with those people. Now that I'm a peer support, now that I'm a teacher, and now that I'm on the other end of it, I know how to interact with each and every one of those personalities, whether they're like you were, or whether they're a meth head or a crackhead or whatever. I know how to interact with them. So I'm glad for that experience. I'm blessed to have had that experience, to be able to understand the different levels of homelessness and the different personalities that are involved.
Yeah, and the different factors leading to it. And I mean, everybody has their own story. It's not cookie cutter.
Right. 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 We have a jail diversion program here that I work with a lot of those folks that have chosen to take the mental health route other than going to jail, or rather than going to jail, they take the mental health route, which is a lot of times more harsh than jail. I'm starting to suggest that people just go do their jail time, and you could get 10 years in state hospital versus going to a year or two in jail.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you don't want to go to a state hospital.
Prefer jail.
Yeah, stay away from state hospital.
I think I would personally prefer a couple of years in jail than I would to go to a state hospital and be locked up in a little room and shot up with Thorazine, which is, we just got out of a meeting today, and that's what's happening to people today. And I'd much rather take jail time and be done with it, be over with it. The state hospital can keep you forever. They have the power of God.
Yeah,
they can keep
their
you
medical
experiment
and that's not definitely avoid any state hospitals. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's the only. I just thought jail would be the worst, but yeah, you're so right. Thanks for reminding me that there is something worse than jail, and that would be a mental hospital. Yeah.
Yes. And I'm also shaman. I'm also a shaman, and I'm an alchemist, and I love alchemy. I love putting herbs together, and I love putting things together, and I love creating things and growing things. And I won't talk about on air all of the things that we grow and deal with, but we grow a lot of our own natural herbs and spices and things, and I just love that. That's the best therapy in the world, to be able to dry and grind your own herbs and spices, and to be able to take some of those things into your body. I love aromatherapy. I've had great experiences with aromatherapy. I love essential oils that go into the body and change the frequency of the cellular metabolism and the electromagnetic concurrence in the body. Essential oils are major catalysts in the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, and they definitely do work along with aromatherapy. I don't believe in Reiki, although there may be something to Reiki. I pretty much make fun of Reiki still, but there could be some quantum action going on that we don't know about down at the Planck length beyond the electron, or just below the electron level at 20 decimals beyond there. And Rolfing to me is crazy. I don't like to be Rolfed. I think Rolfing is like wrestling with a great ape or something. It's crazy to be thrown around in a room, I like massage therapy is good. Massage therapy works. I love it. Acupuncture is totally bunk science, but it works. I mean, it's bunk science, but it works.
What do you say it's bunk science?
If you ask any practitioner, they will tell you that it's bunk science. And bunk science means we don't know how it works. Bunk science could mean it doesn't really work, or bunk science could mean it really works, but we don't know how the hell it works. It's psychological, It's physiological, it's psychophysiological. It may be just the whole psychological experience. When I'm in there, I've got aromatherapy going on. I've got essential oil therapy going on. I've got a beautiful room I'm in. I'm listening to 420 hertz music to my frequency of my brain, tuning my brain up.
432.
The essential oils are tuning my cells up, 432, 430, 430, 555. Yeah, and so you've got this total experience that you're immersed in, everything but aquatic therapy going on. And so I think that's what it is. It's just the total experience is what gives you the feeling of peace and harmony and being synergistic. So that's my take on it.
That's really cool, Kiler. I had no idea that you were as experienced in these modalities. I guess we didn't, when we were talking about or giving a Cliff Notes version of my background, I didn't, I just kind of touched on the homeless thing because that's where you were at. But can I give out my old website?
Yeah.
Okay, it's
I haven't seen your website yet.
Oh, okay.
Give your website. Yeah.
So
give your website.
I'll tell you where to go right now, and you can see for yourself. But all those things you've talked about, I have been doing and teaching for over a decade. And that's mytrueessence.weebly.com. And, on the front page, I haven't really edited the front page, when I went homeless. I'm like, don't order anything, blah, blah, blah. But, check the blogs, and the shop isn't working. I'm not in that position making my stuff again. But, coaching sessions and things like that I do. But I'm guessing that you don't know that I have several hundred videos on my YouTube channel geared directly towards teaching about essential oils and herbs and healing yourself, including interviews with Dr. David Stewart. And yes, I'm a holistic health coach. I held a PhD in metaphysics. And so that was my practice that was, pretty much taken from me when my brain blew up. But yeah, all that's on my channel. So go check the playlist. There's some either mental health or essential oils or natural healing or any of the topics you brought up. I already have a playlist of that with, there's, even after having everything deleted and things replaced, there's still at least 1,500 videos up there.
Not to mention, I didn't want to leave out dietary. The bowel is so important, and the bowel, the probiotics in the bowel, and the way the bowel works. It's so important to life is the bowel care and the dietary, to make sure that you're getting the proper amounts of food and the proper types of food, and you're getting pure food, you're getting all natural food. And this is also a problem because people can't afford the time to do this. They can't afford the money to do this, and they really don't know where to go. Locations are really hard when you're low income, so it's hard to do. It's very difficult to do. And as I said, I think before the show, I was talking to one of my producers about, probiotics or, acidophilus or whatever you're going to choose to use. I just used acidophilus because everybody knows that word, most everybody. $34 a bottle for acidophilus. That's ridiculous. That's, my God, a lot of people don't make $34 in a day, or 2 days.
Well, that's why we need to get back.
They know they get.
That's why we need to get back to our native and ancient wisdom. And weeds are medicine. Weeds are food. Weeds, they're free. They're growing in our yards. They're growing in the parks. We can get all the nutrients from what's right here. And so I was telling John earlier that I hope it was John, but I came across some videos recently that I made in 2012. And one of them is called How Being Poor is a Blessing, How It Can Serve the Greater Good. And what I discussed in that, and I thought I was poor, but not even about to where I was going to be. But what that was about was all the things that I had learned in that time. So instead of, complaining about poison food in the grocery store or too expensive or this or that, I went out and grew my own. I learned about wheat. I learned about oils. I learned about herbs. And, so I went and taught all that. By the way, all those videos are still online, gardening videos, instructional tutorials, cooking, healthy cooking even, how to make your own, basically everything, including deodorant, toothpaste, etc. I have a playlist called Homeless Healthcare, which I made while I was living in my tent, and I did some while living in my car, which means anyone can do these things, right, with just a few simple ingredients. But look, when I was living high on the hill and, had money and this and that, basically growing up in the city in San Diego, you learn how to pay slaves for everything, right? And so when, I always felt like, God, why can't we have like Little House on the Prairie, And so I had this vision in my mind.
Right.
So I went and chased it, and that's how I ended up living in the country and living in the Ozarks and living off the land and all the off-grid adventures and stuff. But, I did that because I weighed my life in the city and working as much as I had to pay other people to raise my children. And then they get home from school, hey, babies, what'd you learn? And then they tell me Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Let's sit down. Let's talk about reality. And I got tired of that. So I'm like, wait a minute. I'm the parent. I should be educating my children. I should be responsible for them. So we left the city, looked for that spot in the land. I homeschooled my children. We gardened. We cooked. They learned skills that people don't learn now. And so there's ways of, I see a lot of people complain about being poor, but for me, it was awesome losing everything because I learned how to do everything. I learned how to feed myself. I killed a woodchuck. I ate him. I ate hearts of palm. I learned to fish. I learned to gut them. Besides growing, like even after having all of my beautiful, successful gardens and working with 200 herbs and growing them and making them and even selling them and having a successful business with them, I still felt I was missing, I wanted to learn more. I did shows about survival tactics, but I didn't actually do it and live it. And so I embarked on that journey, not knowing that it was going to go the way it did, my brain was going to blow up and this and that, but that was the whole point. Okay, so I can pick fruit, and I can pick vegetables, and I can grow herbs and pick some flowers and make some tea, but I really wanted to test myself and know that I wouldn't have to rely on things that I abhor, such as Uncle Sam, hello, agencies, things like that. Like, if you can feed yourself, why would you go through the red tape and drama and abuse of this system that I don't really know anyone that appreciates it, And so
Right.
for me, losing everything and getting, becoming poor and this and that, it's just been awesome because I have never been so wise and self-sufficient and responsible in my life.
Where did you do your undergraduate work? I know that there's a totally different type of universe for metaphysics and PhD doctorate.
Yeah.
I know that you can do most of it. You can do most of it online. I know that for a fact because I'm getting my PhD now, which I don't want to talk about on air. I don't. Yeah. Where did you do your undergraduate?
We can discuss that later. But so I dropped out of college 4 times. And
yeah, me too. I dropped out twice.
Okay.
So,
but
yeah.
time
we can discuss that later.
Yeah, so each time I'm very open. I don't really care, but each time I took a little bit with me. I was just bored. I got tired of sitting still expected to sit still in classrooms listening to idiots having me repeat lies. And I didn't understand why. Like, if I'm going to a school and I'm paying for it, aren't I the boss? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I should be able to choose what I can take and what I want to take. And so
Right.
the structure of it pissed me off, making me, and see, I started college literally in high school. Like, I went to physically in the college, not just like college courses that people take in high school, but like at the actual college. So, you know, I was kind of
I'm going
ahead.
I'm going to Yale, and I'm going to Berkeley online, and Yale and Columbia University, and I'm having a ball.
Oh, are you doing?
You know, the online courses today are unbelievable. The tutoring is unbelievable. The one-on-one is unbelievable.
Are you doing a Coursera type thing?
Yes.
Oh, right on. I would love to hear about that because I have, you know, looked at those things online and I'm like, God, that would be really fun to do when I'm stable and can actually get online. And, you know, there's always more that I want to learn. And while I am self-taught at most things and have hundreds of books and this and that, I still like to learn like the mainstream version of things as well. And I'm also finding that schools aren't really also mainstream all the time anymore, which is beautiful.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a lot of misconception. There's a lot of misconception out there that you've got to pay for your PhD and that it's going to be extraordinarily high. It's going to be extraordinarily expensive. And that is just simply not true.
No,
there is
not
a lot
these days.
online. Huh?
Yeah, not these
Yeah.
days. There's no excuse that anyone cannot get some type of education, whether it's self-education, doing the Coursera, getting an online university. Like, so all the colleges I dropped out of were physical schools. And then I ended up getting the degree online.
Yeah.
It just, I couldn't even believe when I came across it that, like, really? All this shit I've been living and doing, there's a degree for it? What? And you'll apply my previous work?
Right.
What? Are you serious? It was like a no-brainer. It was like I feel like I didn't even do anything for it. Like, it was just a gift. It was because I was already you know.
I got to apply all of my general studies and emergency medicine. I was a certified emergency medical technician, advanced cardiac life support paramedic with a background in search and rescue and fire. So I got to use my general studies. They call that general studies, even though I wanted it to be a specialty. They wouldn't do it. So they used it as general studies, and they added that to my curricula. So it was pretty cool. It advanced me a little bit, like kind of going to military school before you go into the military. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
So, well, you know all about that. You know about general studies.
The school I went to. If you want to learn more about that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, Tyler, those classes are free, I think, in one of those big schools that you mentioned.
Well, it depends. It depends on you. If you want hours that are certified, if you're going to transfer your hours to another college, if you're going to just get your peer support type of certification and use your PhD with a private practice. Now, if you're going to go out into the real world, the mainstream world that's really fucked up, you're going to need something from Berkeley that's hours. You know, you got your hours and you paid for them and you went through the proper channels to get it. Both Aphrodite and I, Christie, we didn't take that mainstream bullshit wave. we're going through the back door and we're getting the same PhD, we're getting the same doctorate that we can use as a private practice that is completely legal in the United States Incorporated, and it's just as good. And anybody that doesn't like it can lump it. A lot of people say,
exactly.
"Oh, if you went," a lot of people say, "Oh,
I'm remembering
if you went online." A lot of people say, "Oh, if you went online, you're stupid. You're a fraud. You're a fraud. You're not real."
They do say
Well,
that.
bullshit. That's bullshit.
Well,
I'm remembering an article I read a couple of years ago that one of the big colleges, and I cannot for the life of me remember what it is, but they were putting all of this stuff out for free to anybody. Now, obviously, you're not going to get certification or anything like that, but you could sit there and watch the videos for the classes and learn what they were teaching, okay? And I think what they were doing is they were trying to look for your younger people that wanted to kind of learn a little bit and decided if they wanted to proceed with that, and in turn decided if they wanted to go to the actual college itself to take the online courses for certification. When we talk about the education that I've gotten with regards to law, you know, I've sit here and I've looked at thousands of hours of YouTube videos and hundreds of websites. And like you guys been talking about, the knowledge is out there. People can find anything they want to know with a few keystrokes on their favorite search engine. And the ability to learn has never been easier. The ability to travel, even if you've never leave your living room, never has been greater because we've had access to a computer with an internet access. And that,
I wanted to say,
ladies and gentlemen, is beautiful.
I wanted to say that you do get your certifications, and they look beautiful, and they are beautiful, and they are real. You do get your certifications. They're just not the same as if you went to the normal mainstream curricula at that college. It's a parallel system, like Christie said. It's a different kind of system is all. That's all. Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah, and I was just asking because I think the fees are a lot less because they don't have to have you in a classroom and all the other drama that goes with it.
Yes. Yes.
I know. Pretty much all of the major colleges have now gone to online classes as well.
Yes.
You know, and any of the major colleges that don't offer that, they're losing students because of it.
They sure are. They're getting a lot of federal funding too for going online. They're getting a tremendous amount of federal funding and state funding for going online, and for presenting these types of courses were mandated by the Congress. For them to be able to do this, they freed up $120 billion to be able to put these online courses out there and to be able to dole these grants out to these colleges. So they're getting paid well for building these online courses, and they're going to get more prevalent over the next 5 years. It's going to be amazing what you see in the next 5 years, people getting their studies done at Starbucks, getting their PhDs while sitting at Starbucks and Walmart and McDonald's. You're going to see people getting their PhDs. And, you know, there's been a lot of complaints. There's been a lot of problems with that. People are saying, oh, my God, I don't want to deal with anybody that got their doctorate online. Oh, my God, I don't want to see a practitioner that got their doctorate online. But all that's changing now. All of that's changing now. People are starting to respect this new culture. What do? You get used to the new culture, right?
I don't even actually care. I don't usually tell people, hi, I'm a doctor. I don't really, you know what I mean? I don't, and if people are going to think differently of me, like I want people to know me for me. And, you know, I've seen situations where they find out and then I see how they clearly treat me differently. And then that shows me who they are. But, I don't use it I don't use it for my life really in any way. You know, I don't use it in my job. I don't tout it. It's just knowledge and experience that I wanted to have, but I don't intend on it helping me in corporate America in any way. I mean, I just want to learn what I want to learn, and that was the problem I had with school in the first place. And while I kept dropping, I couldn't understand why I couldn't just pick and choose and take my class. No, you have to take that, your whatever, English 101 or, boring things like that I'm never going to use. I already took out of math. I already, I wanted to focus on what I wanted. And yeah, so I got tired of paying schools for them telling me what I wanted, So I love the online culture, and I really, if somebody's going to judge me for it, I just have to say this, my work speaks for itself. I healed myself. I've healed gangrene, pancreatic cancer. I don't really care what anyone thinks because by their fruits you will know them. My work speaks for itself. I don't need a degree for my work to matter or to work. You know what I mean?
Two of the best psychotherapists I know, who one, I got my master's. I have a master's in neuro-linguistic programming, and two of the psychotherapists that I know are two of the sweetest, most wonderful people in the world, and they are the best therapists that I know, and they all went online.
Nice. I want to ask you.
Well, I just did a quick.
I'm sorry.
Give me 1 second, Christie. I just did a quick search. You're fine, honey. I just did a quick search on Google, and I typed in free college courses and came up with openculture.com. And here's what it says: 1,300 free online courses from the world's leading universities: Stanford, Yale, MIT, Harvard, Berkeley, Oxford, and more. You can download these audio and video courses often from iTunes, YouTube, or the university website straight to your computer or MP3 player. Over 45,000 hours of free audio and video lectures await you now.
Wow.
And they're all out there. This is incredible.
I
There's
want
no
that
reason
link.
to be stupid now. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want that link, please, because I just like to learn things. I'm not doing it for degrees or certificates. In fact, in the alternative health field that I am successful in, I would never consider being licensed in any way because then I can't tell you the truth about healing. So I don't, and I'm sorry to say it, but a lot of people in the natural health world, naturopaths, holistic health coaches, etc., they're acting like doctors and they're prescribing herbs or prescribing supplements. And I'm sorry, but hopefully, I don't know what time it is, if we still have time to get into the health aspect, the health,
yeah, we do.
The exact opposite. Can I just segue into this here right now then?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So traditional or Western medicine or whatever, we're trained, oh, doctor, I'm sick, what can I take? Ha! But we're supposed to be asking the opposite. Oh, self, I'm sick. What do I need to take away? Like, what am I doing to you? So we're programmed to, we have this pain, let's relieve it. Let's just make it go away. But we're not thinking about asking or getting to the root cause. Well, what is the pain a signal for? Hello? I'm sure most of y'all drive. It's just like the warning signal or the check engine light on your vehicle. Okay? So the way we have been taught to approach health here in Western medicine is the exact opposite. And the way I have seen the natural health industry go in the last 15 years, and, I've been in it for 30 plus years. So it's gone downhill, and I don't even want to get into the super dark parts. I'll just say this. If something's wrong with you, you need to first do nothing. Stop. Assess what you are actually doing. And most of us are so, we're on autopilot, really, especially if we're working slave jobs like I am right now. And, we just do, and we forget. Did we even eat, or what did we eat? We grab what's handy or whatever, but we really need to assess what we are ingesting. And I don't mean just food or just drink. I mean assess everything. What are you ingesting? The energies. What are you listening to on the radio? Are you actually watching TV still? And if you are, what are you choosing there? What are you choosing with your free time? Are you getting out there and doing healing things for yourself? Or, you know what I mean? So really, when people come to me and people ask me all the time, Christie, what can I take for constipation? Christie, what can I take? You know, and that's just whatever. What can I take for this, that, whatever? And I'm like, it doesn't work this way. So I need to ask you questions now. So, because it's about what you're doing to cause it in the first place. And what I have learned, I'll try to just do a copious version here, but if you look at that website, My True Essence, or even on my channel, you'll see me 12 years ago, 13 years ago. You'll see me 10 years ago. You'll see me 4 years ago before my brain blew up, when I was the picture of health, when I was healing everyone and thought that, you know, it was so easy, which it is. But let me tell you, if I was a writer, I would write a book called The Mosquito and the Ego, because there I was, the picture of health, healing everybody easily, and then I get bit by a few mosquitoes. And this was on my survival journey. It was supposed to last 30 days. It lasted 4 years because of a few detours. But, you know, I see the pictures and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like this young, fresh, healthy, you know, picture of health. But it took a few mosquitoes to teach me what healing is really about. So I fought that issue as best I could with everything I knew, everything that had always worked before for me, I mean, I got myself out of a wheelchair, I healed pancreatic cancer, I healed gangrene, like it's just a couple mosquitoes, you know? I got this.
Yeah.
Nothing I knew worked. In fact, I got worse and worse and worse and worse until I finally discovered the truth, the reality, the reality behind health. And I'm going to make a few points before I get into that. But for those of you who have seen me when I could walk, when I couldn't walk, when I could walk, when I couldn't walk, and then when I healed again, I healed while I was homeless. Okay? And yeah, the first time I healed out of a wheelchair, I was in a home. I was juicing. I was growing. I was eating, you know, as close to perfect as anyone could. Whole Foods, trading with my neighbors, blah, blah, blah. Okay? And yeah, I healed then. But then I'm homeless. Guess what? You don't have a juicer. You don't have the ability to go grow or pick or buy organic produce or seaweed supplements or make your own medicine, like to the degree that I was before. I didn't have that. I ate whatever I was grateful to have. I ate things that I previously, you know, was way too freaking snobby to even think of touching. And I was grateful. And guess what? I healed. I healed without the juicer. I healed without the supplements. I healed without the seaweed. I healed without the herbs. I healed without my processor. Okay, all of it. So what was different? What was different? Everything I thought I knew, my medicines, my oils, guess what? I didn't have that. That was all locked away in a storage unit while I'm living in a tent in the mountains with 2 feet of snow, or living in a car in mold, a moldy car, by the way, yeah, with leaks. All right. So let's get to the real key to healing. Nothing.
Hey, before you do that, stop for a moment, please. Do me a favor, Tyler. Let's do a public service announcement for our advertisers, and then spin a record real quick. That way, she can take out the show with everything that she's got that's important for us to hear.
Yeah, let's take a little break here. Kiler Davenport on with John Leckrone and Christie Aphrodite Shamaka Fro tonight, talking about natural healing, ladies and gentlemen, and a whole lot of other wonderful things. I want to also thank Good Talk Radio for simulcasting us over there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday nights. You can also find us on Today's Voice Radio, and you can also find us out there on 97.9 Powercast over there with Clay Ponder. I want to thank our sponsors tonight, Salsa Garcia. I want to thank Salsa Garcia for providing such wonderful salsa to us here in the Northwest. You can find them at salsagarcia.com. I want to thank shoptofind.com. Check Shop to Find out for all of your wonderful merchandise that you cannot find in the store. They have so many different categories to choose from, and the service and quality is unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank them so much for being one of our first sponsors here in the network. I swore I would never take on a company like that that sells merchandise, but Shop to Find, they're so wonderful, they're so sweet, and they're so giving, and they run the business just right. So I went ahead and took them on instead of like we were going to go with homeopathic natural healing herbs and things like that. So we're going to run and spin a record here really quick, and then we will be back with you. Let me find something here. My mind is spinning 1,000 million miles per hour, so give me a second here to do this. John knows I get kind of bumfuzzled. I am so happy to be on the Superstation tonight. My God, John, we are on the Superstation tonight. I didn't tell you. We are back. Unbelievable.
I think that's awesome.
Nice. Well, I'm super happy to be here with y'all.
Shout out to all our new listeners.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be on the Superstation tonight. We're back, and we got back an hour and a half before we went on air. We hit the main airways, so it's just unbelievable. Let's just go with Kenny Rogers. I'm going to quit screwing around here. Let's do the Gambler again.